So Andrew Berry spoke. 6:43. We'll get to the elephant in the room. Andrew Berry spoke yesterday. It's a big deal. I'm probably going to say something that's going to be even more controversial than what I said on Friday. But here is Andrew Berry yesterday, where he wants to maybe attempt to nip it in the bud. He says Myles Garrett, not just a Brown this year, a career Brown.
So can you state unequivocally that you're not trading Myles Garrett?
I'd say this, Mary Kay. Myles is a career Brown. He is one of the faces of our organization. I think we've been very clear, both past and present, in terms of our feelings on that. So I understand all the questions. I'll be honest, I don't really want to waste a ton more breath on the topic.
Okay. He understands the question.
That sound like a no for you? An easy no. Say no at the beginning.
Called him a career Brown. What more do you want? He called him a career Brown. What more do you want?
I did not hear no in there.
All right. So he spoke. I'm going to say, and this is what's probably going to get me beat up because I think some people are going to assume I'm sticking my head in the sand. Can you just hear me out before you go attacking me here? Can I just hear me out?
Why would I attack you?
Because you're you. I think it's just time we move on now. I think he's a Cleveland Brown. Excuse me. Not from him. I mean from the conversation. He is a Cleveland Brown until he's no longer a Cleveland Brown. And the reason I say that is because I think it's going to drive fans nuts. Do we really need to go through 3 months of trade speculation here before well, wait a minute. It's almost April. Do we want to go through 4 months of trade speculation?
I thought the trade speculation is going to kick back up after June. That's what I thought, the way people were talking.
Guys, come on. For him, if somebody were to call, you have to, now I'm getting frustrated, you have to entertain the conversation. Everybody knows that. It's his job to entertain the conversation. So if somebody were to call, yeah, you got to pick up the phone and have that conversation with somebody and see if they're willing to offer you something ridiculous for Myles Garrett. But at the same time, you're looking at a person who would be signing his own death warrant as a general manager in the NFL. If he trades that guy during this offseason, it is over. It is over. And I don't understand why we expect him to be traded. I know so many people have what they believe is the best option possible. And I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm not necessarily even shooting it down. I'm not pointing that out. I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards those.
You can't possibly shoot it down after what we heard yesterday.
You can't shoot it down. Well, no. I don't think you can shoot it down no matter what he said yesterday. I'm not shooting it down. But I'm telling you, it's going to drive you nuts. It's going to drive me nuts. It's going to drive us all nuts if we continue to go through this every other day when it comes to the league meetings, OTAs, draft talk, all that stuff. There will be times where it heats up again. When the draft comes here in a month, or the draft comes to the calendar in a month, these conversations will heat up again. I'm not trying to be ignorant towards the situation here, but I'm saying if we don't just move on and accept him as a Cleveland Brown, guys, you're gonna be pulling your hair out here. It's gonna be a frustrating amount of time. So he said what he said. If somebody calls, fine, but I don't think they're shopping Myles Garrett. If you think they're shopping Myles Garrett, then I guess we have to have ourselves a knockdown dragout.
Is there a difference? I mean,
yes, there is.
We all
We
all know the teams that are going to be looking to go after Myles. It's not like it's going to be some big mystery about teams that are trying to, add the best pass rusher and best defensive player in football. Mm-hmm. We know you have Philadelphia. Yesterday there were videos and pictures at the owners' meetings of Andrew Berry and Howie Roseman having very long conversations. Like, where do you think people are going to go with that? So whether they're shopping him,
he's not allowed to talk to a friend he used to work for.
Sure.
He's not allowed to have a conversation with a friend he used to work for.
Sure, and John Dorsey and who was the guy from the Giants were
Dave Gettleman
sitting right next to each other, and you could have said the same thing. Oh, they're not allowed to talk at the and then they made a trade.
And I probably did say the same thing back then. They're allowed to talk, but who knows
how this works? They have to talk.
So they're going to stand out there.
They can't do a trade without talking, Ken.
So they're going to stand out there and pound out the negotiations for a Myles Garrett trade in front of God and everybody. You think that's how this works? Please.
We're sure that wasn't Andrew Berry's twin brother who works for the Eagles.
Right.
Could have been Adam Berry. Exactly the point.
I've joked about that before, that they could play a lot of pranks, 1980s/90s sitcom pranks on a lot of different teams.
Who are the guys from Weekend at Bernie's? That always seemed to be like their hijinks in the 80s. They had a very strong run there. But you don't Guys, I'm trying to save us all a lot of time and trouble.
Well, that's not
Come
for you
on.
to do. That's not your job.
Yes, it is.
Your job is
Yes,
not
it is.
is not to act like none of this is happening out there.
I'm not acting like none of it's happening.
Obviously, since the day Myles Garrett asked for a trade, well, the week or the month or whatever it was that he asked for a trade, and the fact that, even signing the contract, people thought the door was still open, and then they revised the contract, and no one has a real reason, and then Andrew Berry had every chance in the world to just shoot it down immediately, and did not do that, did not take the opportunity to do that, and nobody can figure out why he would have done this maneuvering when it doesn't seem to really, according to the experts that look at this stuff consistently 24/7, they can't find a real reason other than to keep the flexibility if they trade him.
I know that there's a need for extra draft picks for a lot of people. However, Andrew Berry was asked this question yesterday, where he was asked, why don't you need to move on from Myles Garrett?
We'll always do what we think is in the best interest of the organization. We really like our core. I think as we look at the team, we have an elite young defense, rebuilt offensive line. We have, 9 picks this upcoming draft. We have a good offensive young core that we brought in last year.
That's Andrew Berry. Okay? Guys, you just hired a new head coach. You torpedo the season if you trade away Myles Garrett. And then you might torpedo his reign as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. I mean, for all the craziness that we've had to deal with here over the last, there's so much about it that doesn't make sense. I can't say it's a done deal, but yes, I do think that there's a difference. I'm not trying to be silly here. I do think there's a difference between shopping a player and just being open to conversation, which you're always open to conversation. But I don't believe they have intentions to trade Myles Garrett just because of what they had done over the last week. I don't think that is their main goal, is to trade that man. If somebody calls,
I don't think it's the goal either.
To speculate about it, it's just going to make everybody feel horrific.
But it's not
throughout the summer.
It's not our job to make people feel good. That's never been my job. I don't think it's your job either. And it's obviously one of the big off-season conversations that have been had on every national show.
But we're not a national show.
So we're supposed to lie to the people?
I'm not lying to them.
Kenny, what did we say when they changed that? We're acting like Friday didn't occur. You said Friday, they might trade him. And I asked you point blank, would you be shocked if they traded him? And you said no.
But no, I wouldn't be. But what is the entire point of bringing it up every single damn day?
I didn't bring it up today. You brought it up.
So this wasn't an agreed upon thing to talk about the possibility of him moving on from Myles Garrett. That was the bulk of the press conference yesterday.
We have even worse. We have even worse press conference materials for people when it comes to the quarterback situation. So we can move on to that one. But unless you want to coddle our fans and listeners and make sure they don't hear things they don't want to hear, are we supposed to ignore that conversation too?
Guys, am I just saving you a lot of time and trouble and energy and frustration if I say, couldn't we just move on now? Can't we just take his word for it as it is right now and move on? Or am I trying to coddle you and pat everybody's ass? Is that what I'm trying to do? Because I'm thinking, guys, you're gonna drive yourself crazy if we sit here and continuously have these conversations throughout the summertime.
Myles is a career Brown. He is one of the faces of our organization. I think we've been very clear, both past and present, in terms of our feelings on it. So I understand all the questions. I'll be honest, I don't really want to waste a ton more breath on the topic.
Thank you. He's never going to say never. He's never going to say never. So you guys can ask him all the questions you want. And I don't understand this Dick Tracy type of thing of, oh my gosh, does he really mean it? Does he really? Pretty hot under these lights, Andrew Berry? Guys, if he gets traded, he gets traded. But he's not going to tell you he's going to trade he's not going to shop the guy. He's not openly shopping the guy. Yes, they're going to leave some flexible options. Yes, Myles might get upset this year and ask for a trade. We all know that that's a possibility too. There's so many different things that could happen. But
technically, do we know if he's done that behind the scenes?
Right now, I think we know. Wouldn't we know?
Would we?
Why wouldn't we know?
Maybe he's after the last situation. Maybe there's been, some I don't know if you call it growth or whatever, but he's not going to do anything to screw the franchise because he doesn't want to put him in a spot. Remember, he still wants to go somewhere where he would want to go, right? He doesn't want to just go to anybody, and he has a no trade clause, to boot. But Maybe it's amicable. I don't know.
Well, if you decide to move on, it will be something that's amicable. Because he can't really, he's got a no-trade clause, but it's not like he can hold it over to you. You don't really want to hold it over to him. You're going to make a decision. If you're making this decision and going forward with it, you're making it for the betterment of your franchise long-term is what you're trying to do. But what I'm pointing out to everybody...
Right, so you just admit it. They could be doing something that could actually work out for the franchise. That's the whole point of any of this. I don't know. My takeaway after all this was, look, they clearly did something to the contract. It doesn't really benefit them salary cap wise. What it does, it benefits them. If they decide to trade him, they're leaving the door open for a trade. He never said no during any of it.
Well, they can move money around regardless. So, yes, it does benefit them with the salary cap. It does. They move that money around regardless. Do they not? That's what I read from Jack Duffin.
Every single person I read on this said this was creating flexibility for if they trade him, that it doesn't screw them. So they hadn't done that in the past. They could have done that in the past. They chose not to. They did it this time. They were bad again. Obviously, part of this whole thing of him not getting traded and signing a contract was, him signing off on the plan, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, since then, what's been their record? What have they done?
It's been bad.
And they're expected to be bad again this year.
Uh-huh.
So Myles, wouldn't it just, like, I asked you on Friday if you'd be shocked if they trade him. You said no.
No.
I said no.
But I think you're driving...
I think fans, you even said fans are at peace with it on Friday.
I think fans would be at peace with it, but I don't think it's very healthy to sit there and analyze it every single week or every single day of every single week leading up to the draft. Now, when the draft comes here, I'm not going to be silly here, but I just think it's silly because you said, well, every national show. Okay, well, we're a local show. So, yeah, if we were national, if you and I were national, and we were looking at this from 30,000 feet, and we'd be sitting there going, okay, what do the Lions need? What do the Eagles need? Et cetera, et cetera. But we're not. We're in Cleveland. And I do think there is some responsibility to not drive the fans insane talking about trading the greatest player in defensive history for this football team every single damn day. Now, today, it is Jermaine. Today, it is Jermaine. He said these comments yesterday. I'm not fighting even talking about the comments today. It's not what I'm pointing out. I'm just pointing out to everybody that, man, if you guys keep obsessing about this, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Because there is clearly, if they do get a call, the price is going to be astronomical. Mm-hmm. So whoever is willing to make the call is a serious person only. Now, it might be better to do it this summer. I'm not going to walk away from that. I just think it's better for all of us to possibly move on because you're going to drive yourself nuts. And do they really want the deal's the deal? But I just don't believe that Andrew Berry would sit here and go through all this stuff about all these different moves to make, all these trades, to sit here and deal with the history that is the Deshaun Watson deal, and then turn right around, and even though I could make the argument, like say if they did, okay, let's toy with this notion for a moment. Say they gave him up for 3 first-round picks. Say you got 3 ones for Myles Garrett and some change, right? I could look Andrew Berry in the eye, I could shake his hand, and I could go, you're doing what you believe is best for this football team, the best for this organization. I cannot ever accuse you of just trying to hold on to your job. But going in, you're a lame duck general manager. You're not going to win very many games. It torpedoes the locker room. It torpedoes the coaching staff because you've gotten rid of the player of the generation. And it torpedoes the fan base. If anybody's getting their season tickets renewed or anybody's going to these games this year, right off, they're going to C95. I mean, hey, I can be a football guy and give you all the Grant Delpit arguments I want. The general population ain't going because they think the Browns are going to be a tremendous juggernaut of a football team this year. They're going because it's tradition. They love the Browns, and they're going to see 95 play. And if 95's not there and he's been traded for picks in the future in 2027 and 2028, okie dokie, see you in 27 and 28. So it's going to drive fans crazy, and I don't see a reason to drive Cleveland fans crazy about bringing it up every day after today. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm not going to be sitting there thinking about it every day. Well, I just think it's pretty obvious that, if I were to make a bet on whether or not Myles Garrett's here in 2 years, I'd say probably not.
I don't know. I don't think it's that easy. I don't think it's that easy to move on from the guy. I don't. I think that even if a new general manager were to come in here, you have to deal with your owner, and your owner is looking for I think he's looking for anything that brings credence to legitimization of this football team. I know I'm saying a lot of words here. I think he's looking for anybody that the fans can count on. That's why we've drug it out with Joel Bitonio, and we're still figuring out whether or not Joel Bitonio wants to come back. It's still been weeks now since that contract had to come to fruition there. So you're still dragging it out on Joel. You're going to continue to drag it out on Myles. You're trying to find something that the fans can relate to. Somebody that's going to give them hope, because right now, there's some good young guys, but they're not Myles.
Unfortunately, Myles doesn't really bring the hope. It just brings, amazing play from a dominant defensive player. But unfortunately, that in and of itself has not really brought fans a lot of hope. What is going to bring them hope is obviously fixing the quarterback situation. And I hate to say it, you trade Myles for a haul of picks, and then what does it do? Not only does it get you those picks, but it also means that the Browns are going to be able to get the number 1, number 2, or number 3 pick in next year's draft because they're going to be bad.
I understand.
And that is going to bring fans more hope than what Myles has been able to bring them.
I did a podcast. I was a guest on a podcast over the weekend there, and they were asking me several questions about this in particular. And maybe that's why I'm a little sensitive to it. It wasn't their fault. They asked me the questions. But also, I did that thing that I told you I wasn't going to do, where I started to talk myself into maybe them being a little bit better than what I think they're going to be this year, because I've been saying 5-6 wins. And then I started to think, well, you got some veterans there. If you go, and I'm starting to think maybe they'll go wide receiver, and I'll tell you why at another time here during this show, more than likely. It's like, say you take a wide receiver at 6, you got these veterans here on your offensive line. You've switched out your offensive line, but you're hoping that George Warhop is going to be able to keep everything together and do as good a job as possible while you make these moves, right? If you are not playing the best schedule because you're playing against teams that were like you last year, and your strength of schedule is going to be low, if you get yourself a wide receiver that the defense has to take seriously, the defense has to adjust to. If you take that type of guy who are either he's open, or I open up Quinshon Judkins with the running game, or I open up Harold Fannin Jr. with the tight end, or God forbid, you get something out of Jerry Jeudy and Isaiah Bond. Maybe the offense will be a little bit better. If the defense stays the defense, maybe you can win 7-8 games. And I start to talk myself into these things. And if you get rid of 95, that's it. That's it. There's no reason for them to come to your stadium. To what? To watch the kids play again? Well, they did that in 16, 17, right. And how that stadium looked.
If any fan base knows how that feels like and can mentally prepare for that kind of a season, it's the Browns fan base.
And I don't want him to have to do it. If he gets traded, I'll deal with it. I'm not out there rooting for it. I think that this is a very delicate situation. But the thing that I say to everybody is that, it's easy to say it when we go, hey, let's just make the picks and let's just get these picks back and go on. Yeah, but to actually live it, to actually have to go through it, and actually have to give a product that the fan base wants without 95 this year is nearly impossible. And so, no, I don't care who he was talking to in front of God and everybody, because I don't think that they're hashing out a trade right in front of everybody at the league meetings with him and Howie Roseman.